Today on the Bible Reading Challenge podcast, we have a special interview with my friend Brian Marr. He is an editor over at Canon Press, and Canon Press just recently published a modernized version of the Geneva Bible. I actually did some reading for the audio Bible version, reading Luke and Acts, and so I thought I would bring Brian on to talk a little bit about the project and also the history of the original Geneva Bible. So enjoy this interview. So we brought you here today to talk about this modernized Geneva Bible that Canon Press has published, and so far you've published the New Testament. And the first question I want to ask is, why are you guys doing this? Don't we have tons of English translations that are plenty good? Why even do this project at all?
Mm-hmm. There's two really good reasons, I think. One is that we, I would say, live in a post-Pentecost world. So if you look at, a lot of theologians used to speculate that Hebrew was the language of the Garden of Eden. And there's always been this weird, interesting theological trend of people saying there's just one right language. But that's not the Christian way it is. The Christian way of viewing things is that God has given us, he's reversed the curse of the Tower of Babel. And now the gospel goes forward to all these different languages. And all these different languages and ways of communicating things are ways of seeing more of the truth. So I think that having, different translations, you see more each time. So that's kind of the theology of it. The Geneva Bible is a very exciting Bible. It's the Bible that, could I dive into history a little bit?
Yeah, tell us about the original Geneva, the OG B, as we will call it.
Yeah, so it's a really cool story. So everyone knows about William Tyndale. William Tyndale tries to translate the whole Bible. He is caught and burned at the stake, but as he's dying, he, according to legend, prays God to open the King of England's eyes. And within just a few years, the King of England commissions a translation. It's Miles Coverdale, but it's a very big, hefty, unfriendly Bible. And it's got a lot of mistakes because this is the first time you're doing it. And then what's really interesting is that King Henry VIII dies, his son also dies, and then his daughter, a Catholic, comes to the throne. And all these Protestant Englishmen end up fleeing to Calvin's Geneva. And so this Bible, the Geneva Bible, is an English translation published in Geneva, Switzerland, under John Calvin's, in John Calvin's city. John Calvin's still alive at the time. So these translators all go there, and they want to make a Bible that is just perfect for individuals. Tyndale's prayer was that the plowboy would know as much as the bishop. And so they come together, they make it as usable as possible for people. So the first English translation to include verses, it's the Geneva Bible. The first one to have a lot of explanatory notes and maps for individuals. If you want to see where Paul's traveling to in Acts, you can go to the back of your Bible. And all these notes are explaining for ordinary people, how do you think about this? How do you put this all together?
So it's really the first English study Bible, possibly the first, study Bible period, because we're in the age of the printing press now, and we're testing the power of how can the Word of God actually go forth into the world now. Because
it's very different if you're, putting it with ink on a page. You just can do so much more. And it really is the family Bible. And maybe the exciting thing about this book is that, this is the book that, it's a book of Shakespeare, but it's also the Bible that was carried across by the Pilgrims. They would have had that. It was designed to be, some people, I suppose another interesting thing is that many of these Geneva Bibles were very small, and so you could just fit them in your purse and just take it with you. And many of them were family Bibles. And so it's just super, super accessible.
So tell us a little bit about the people. So you mentioned Calvin. Who are some other people that we might know? So Tyndale does this work, translating for the first time from the Greek and the Hebrew, and I believe the Geneva Bible is the first to completely translate from the Hebrew, because Tyndale did not finish his work by the time he was by the time he was martyred. So who are some other people that might have been involved with this project that we know from church history?
I don't know if you'd have. I looked at the names right before I came, and you probably wouldn't remember any of the names.
Okay.
But the only name that's interestingly on there is Miles Coverdale, because Miles Coverdale I believe he was a friend of Tyndale's. I'd have to double check that, but he basically took all of Tyndale's work and made it the basis for he did the first English Bible under Henry VIII. And then he fled the continent and was like, well, my own Bible isn't good enough, so I'm going to help out with this next Bible that's going to be even better.
Okay.
And it is a huge advance. It's a huge scholarly advance. And the Geneva was the basis for actually the first Catholic English translation of the Bible, and then a huge basis for the King James. So
can you talk about that a little bit more? The differences and relationship between the King James and the Geneva, and some people have never even heard of the Geneva Bible, which in some ways is just as important or significant in the development of even the English language. You mentioned this was Shakespeare's Bible. This is shaping the way and words and idioms that we use today, and a lot of that came from Tyndale's pen. But why is it that we all know about the King James Bible, the authorized version, and that's still has lasting power, but the Geneva Bible has kind of been overlooked?
Because King James hated it. And so King James is a Protestant who comes to the throne, and there's this meeting at Hampton Court, and all the Puritans are there. They're the ones who want to purify the Church of England, and there's the bishops, and the bishops are like, no, we don't want a new Bible. We don't want the Geneva Bible to become the Bible of England. And King James says, you Puritans have a point. The Bibles that we have in England are not as good as the Geneva Bible. But I hate the fact that you've got all these little notes, these study notes that we talked about earlier, that say that it's okay to overthrow kings. I believe I'm an absolute monarch, and so no one should be able to do that to me. So he commissions this translation and puts it out there, and it takes a while, but it does become the Bible of his kingdom because, after James, there's a civil war in England, and so eventually the Anglican Church decides that that's the Bible they want to export. And so that's why we know about it. And, possibly because, it just got adopted in America. And so once you adopt in America, you just forget the previous, what came before, even though, Geneva is a great Bible.
Mm-hmm. So I use the New King James for a lot of my reading and preaching. The King James is probably still my favorite just to read when I need a day to just read Scripture. But there isn't any that I'm aware of New Geneva Bible. Mm-hmm. In what ways would the modernized version that Canon has published different than something like the way the New King James modernized the King James? So there's a little bit of a difference there. Can you explain that?
That's a really good question. The New King James is going to look and is willing to work from what we know about modern scholarship and it might include slightly different text traditions. Yeah. I don't know which traditions exactly the New King James has done, but the Modernized Geneva, we didn't go to it, and we didn't want to actually do a lot of heavy-duty reworking of it. We wanted just, and I suppose this is spilling over into what is the Modernized Geneva. Why is it modernized? But we wanted to basically get rid of some of the awkward things that would distract a reader. Because if you think of the mission of the Geneva Bible as, you want a Bible that's easy to use, reader-friendly, family-friendly, then what you need to do is you need to make it legible, easy to read, and get rid of some of the archaic things. So,
can you give us an example of an archaism that's in the original Geneva that in the modernized was replaced by something? Do you have any examples off top?
Yeah. So first off, we just got rid of the these and thous, the eths and ests.
Okay.
And then here's a fun example. In Acts, it says, Paul and his companions went, and then it says they trussed up their fardels. Fardel is that kind of archaic word that you would see in Shakespeare. It actually pops up in Hamlet, to be or not to be. It's, who would fardels bear? And it just means burden. And so we didn't want to go super modern, so we changed it to, and they packed up their burdens.
Okay.
So we're trying not to make it.
So you made it less fun? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And that is, it's getting rid of speed bumps is how we try to think of it. Yeah. You're trying to, because if you're part of your work is you're dealing with the archaic things that are happening in front of you. It's hard to think about, well, what is this text saying that it wants me to do? What is Jesus saying to me right now?
Yeah.
So that's the philosophy behind it.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about the process going from the original Geneva Bible manuscript? So you weren't looking at, or were you guys looking at the Greek and Hebrew text, or were you just looking at the English? And then is it, in what sense is it a new translation or just a modernization of a English version? I think that's maybe the distinction I'm trying to get at, is how far back are we going? Or are you trying to just present the Geneva Bible in a way that would be readable for the modern person?
Yeah, it's definitely the latter.
Okay.
We want this to be a modernization. That's why it's not a translation. We just want to get rid of those speed bumps and just make people think about the text and continue that mission of the Geneva Bible, this mission of, all these people who, died for the faith, who were brave for the faith, who, whether you're looking at the Protestants fleeing the continent, going to Geneva to escape Catholic persecution, or you're thinking of the Puritans or the Scottish Covenanters. One cool detail is that in 1579, Scotland commanded that every household have a Geneva Bible. So it was
law.
It was law in Scotland, yeah.
You better have a Bible in your house or else.
And so we wanted to just make this a modernization where, we're looking at, in our case, we looked at a public domain, old spelling text. And so we just made sure that the spelling was modern. We make sure that some of that older language is removed, but not if we could help it. So, yeah.
Let's end with this last question. Why should people read this modernized Geneva version? Where should it fit into someone's, say they read the Bible throughout the year, or they do the Bible reading challenge? Should this be a Bible people start preaching from and using, or does it have some other purpose in your guys' mind?
In our mind, it's to get people reading this every day. And, it's just the difficulties that people have with habit, I think, are, they're very, very tricky. I've definitely gone through periods in my life where I haven't read the Bible every day. And so what we're trying to do is create, we really do see it as a mission to put this in front of people on a regular basis. I think that you could preach from this, but the thing that we care about is making this something that's on your coffee table, just as it was in, the Elizabethans' purses.
Okay.
Like having it in their bags next to them. You're waiting at the dentist's office, pull out the Bible. That's the kind of thing that, why not? Something might happen in the dentist office that, that you need the Word of God for. So that's what our goal is. The goal is to get people reading it regularly. We've got, in the current ones we've got a few blank pages with lines in it for people to write their notes in. So, and we'll see what we do for the final version when we do publish the Old Testament. But that's the goal. That's the audience.
And is this available on like a YouVersion or those other kind of apps if you want to? So you mentioned just pulling a book out. I don't carry, I usually don't carry physical books with me, but I always have my phone with me, which has libraries upon libraries.
Translations,
is there a way to access? I have not looked. Is the Modernized Geneva version in some of these other Bible apps?
It is. We've submitted, I believe there's a New Testament summer reading challenge, and there is a YouVersion that goes with that.
Oh, okay. So we can access this for free.
Yeah,
you don't have to pay anything.
Yeah, it was funny because I was in my Bible study with a friend, and it was like, I was using YouVersion. It's like, oh, I put that up on the app. So, I'm editor, but I also get to put things for free online. I get to do lots of little logistic things, and so I've gone through it and I've copied and pasted our Geneva into the YouVersion. So that's probably out there. It's the summer has begun, but if you want to just jump into that, it's online and it's available. Yeah.
Okay. One final question I have to ask is, what is your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of my job is definitely just when you get to. Honestly, it's criticizing, and it's not criticizing in the sense of, I
get paid to criticize other people.
But the joy of evaluating something, I think it's, this is a very theological thing, but the ability to say it is very good, and the ability to say as, man, it could be better in this way is the most satisfying part of my work. So if I get to say, as an editor, this started out here, but it could be really great, and it could make a difference if it's polished and we address this issue that this potential reader can see. That's the funnest part. And when you are able to do that, and I've done that a few times, where it's like I've created something that wouldn't otherwise exist in a paper. That's the most fun part. And that's what I like to do. I like to evaluate things and say, this is great, this is really terrible, this is interesting. Let's change how this works and take that good thing and turn it into the great thing.
Yeah. One of the things that I've been blessed by is your very thorough book reviews.
Yeah.
So often I will, if I'm about to read a book or if I have read a book, I think first, okay, what do I think about this? I might, write a sentence or two. And then I'll see Brian has written basically an essay with footnotes on the book. I think, okay, I don't have to do anything. I'll just punt to Brian's. And I think that goes to your personality, the way that God has made you, and there's a sense in which what you do at Canon Press is take books from glory to glory, or at least try to get them to some level of glory so that they see the light of day. And that's a pretty cool thing that you get to do. Mm-hmm. Well, Brian, thanks for joining us. And people, so tell us, where all can people get this Modernized Geneva Bible? Where are all the places they can go?
They can go to canonpress.com. There's another website, I believe it's Modernized Geneva Bible. If you look up Modernized Geneva Bible, there's a website just for the Geneva online. So either of those places, they're for sale. You can get a nice, currently we're selling a nice, they're not a one volume yet because we haven't got the Old Testament. We've got little individual volumes where you'll get one book of the New Testament. So you'll have one volume of Matthew, one volume of Mark, one volume of one of Paul's letters, and some of them all collected together.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, until next time, keep on